From the riot at the dog park studios, it's Live with Johnny. And now, here's Johnny.
Good evening. Here is Johnny. Today is the 2nd of March. It's already March, which is, you know.
I got a birthday coming up. Like we
glad
were
to get
just
that out of
talking
the way.
about.
Yeah, well.
Got a little birthday coming up.
Yeah, well. You old people got to stick together. Anyway, we probably have some people joining us who haven't normally joined us. Welcome aboard, and thanks for being here. Special episode tonight. We're going to leave the funny behind, and we're going to go for a prevention / information / if we can help one person. Before we get to my guest tonight, I'm just going to say, number one, I'm not a professional. That I know when it comes to mental health. So what you're going to hear tonight is a true story. You're going to hear true feelings. You're going to hear heartfelt emotions. And that's it. So I don't want anybody to, don't go checking the encyclopedia to see if what I said was right, because I'm not going to hit you with facts. I'm just going to hit you with truth and true stories. If you or anybody you know is feeling suicidal or sad or just in a situation where you need somebody and you don't have anybody, you dial 988, which I just learned today. I remember when I was a kid, it was a big, long phone number. They've made everything easier for people, and it's just 988. So please do that.
Or hashtag suicide awareness.
Or hashtag suicide awareness.
Even if you're on Facebook, it puts you into the hotline.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
Right? I mean, we grew up going tick, 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 tick. These kids now are just like
Hashtag, and it puts you into help.
pizza. 30 minutes later, it's on the front porch. So, see, I told you I'd make you laugh at least once.
Yes, that's good.
So far, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce our guest this evening. Rumor has it we may have hung out in a field and drank a bunch of whiskey at some point. I'll go ahead and say that we probably did. I don't remember. But this is, and I should have asked before the show, but it's Huenerberg. Diana Huenerberg.
Hey, you
and
got
I
it.
know that because someone in your family took the time to spell it out on Facebook.
Yes.
So whoever did that, thank you very much. Diana, you come to us tonight in the worst possible situation, for the worst possible reason. The old saying that no parent should ever bury their child. I can get into all that, but I'm sure way before this happened, you've said it 1,000 times. We both have mutual friends who have lost children before. I don't want to, try to sugarcoat that in any way. I'm sure everyone that is watching knows, I'm sure that, and if you don't know and you're just a regular person who tuned in to watch me tell fart jokes, tune in next week. But tonight we are going to talk about the life and the loss of Diana's daughter. And we're going to try to bring awareness to children and young adults, these preteens. It's just something Diana reached out and said, hey, listen, if I can help one person, I want to. And that's what we're going to try to do here tonight. So I will mumble for days.
Sorry, I feel comfortable.
It'll be 9:45 and you'll be like, I haven't talked yet. First things first. I know you guys don't watch the show too often, but one of the things I do at the end of the show, you do. Hey, settle down. I say at the end, how are you? Text somebody, call somebody. Just the three most important words in the English language. So, Diana, how are you?
Okay. Okay. And when people say that, check up on them.
Yeah, it's I've had a little of experience with what we're going to talk about tonight, and I know that when you ask somebody how they're doing, they just, what's everybody living the dream.
PG.
Everything's great, peachy. That really means they're not that they're.
They're just dealing.
Yes. Before we get into the prevention and the loss, tell me about your beautiful daughter, Nakita. Just tell me about the person.
Nakita was the biggest shining light. An honor roll student, a model. Sorry, I'm already starting.
Don't worry about that.
She was the best kid. Well, my son, they're both best kids. I'm always told one of the most thoughtful, kindest persons on the face of the planet, which makes it sadder. She was always trying to make everyone else happy, and that's why I'm wearing her orange again, too, because she was a bright, shining light, and that's what I had everyone wear at her funeral, and I feel like she's with me when I wear her orange. It's the brightest stars and the kids like this that everyone needs to look into. She's trying to hide all her humor, her laughter. She was the best kid. Let me go back. She's an honor roll student. She was so talented. A kid I never had to do her homework. She ate everything. She was beautiful inside out. The best kids that I could have.
Let me give you a second there. So
Sorry.
Nope. In doing the research I did for tonight and checking Facebook and people reaching out, many big word thrown around about her, silly.
Yeah.
They
She's
said
a comedian.
she was silly, but more importantly, she was kind. And rumor has it, and I never met your daughter. I know that I was in the same room as her once at Pub 67.
She's an actress.
But a lot of people were talking about her laugh. Did she have a funny laugh?
She had my cackle.
Okay.
She was a mini me. She looked exactly like me.
Let me tell you something. There are some pictures that you posted on Facebook. Like, holy moly.
Someone sent me a video of her laughing, and they screenshotted the picture where her head's back. She looks exactly like me, and the cackle's the same. Everyone said she walked like me, talked like me, looked like me. Yeah, she looks like her father, but she was definitely a mini me. Yeah, she's a little actress.
And that's something, you know, it's for those of you who are not familiar, you know, it's Diana, her husband Bob, Nakita's father, and her brother Chase. And how old is Chase?
He's 25. He'll be 20.
25. Sheesh, we're getting old.
I know. Nakita would be 23 on March 30th.
Yes, yeah. So let's get to now. She's, you know, we were just talking about this a little bit. She's a young girl in today's world. Looking back now, as a mother of the daughter, parents of the daughter, you know, there's Mean Girls is a real thing. You know, today's image, you know, there seems to be every week a story on Fox News or, whatever website you choose to read or the newspaper. You know, 12-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls, 20-year-old girls are taking their own lives due to being called fat or ugly or, you know, something. I don't want to trivialize it because it's
She
their
said that a
decision,
lot.
but
She said that a lot.
For
she was
me,
fat. She's ugly. And I'm like, where are you getting that from? You're skinny.
Yeah.
She was going to the gym every day.
at the sake of
But
sounding,
this is back at 12 too. She was thinking that she was fat and ugly.
at the
And I'm
sake
like,
of
what are you talking about? What do you not see that everyone else sees?
at the sake of sounding very respectful, your daughter was a beautiful girl.
I thought she
She-
could have been a
she's-
model.
She's very attractive and not as attractive as your husband. And I'm sorry.
Agreed.
Listen,
Can you get away
I
from
think
him?
I have to. Yeah, I think I have to keep it light. Otherwise, I'm gonna break down. So, but she's a very, very beautiful girl. Going back and hopefully, I'm not stepping out of school here. As you tell me, seeing the journals or seeing a diary or seeing,
Yeah.
what did you learn about your daughter in that time of her life? Nothing older yet, but in that time of her life, what did you learn about your daughter that maybe you were like,
Back in 6th grade,
oh man,
back then,
yeah,
I read in her journal that she wrote, it all started back in 6th grade, where girls were picking on her. And I kind of knew, because she did tell me, when someone hurt her feelings at school. I said, you know what, Kita? They're jealous. They're jealous. So instead of, I guess that, to me, that's the wrong answer now, I realize. That I should have went to the school and said something and not stop as a parent until those kids are held accountable. And or maybe talk to their parents civilized and say, you know what? You don't realize the damage that shoulda, coulda, would've.
and I think coming out of this newer society that we're living in, where everything's eggshells and kid gloves, if there's one good thing that can come out of what is happening today in this world, is that kids need to be kinder to each other because I
do.
got to tell you, I'm going to be 46 years old.
Adults
I know,
do too, though,
You know,
because they learn what they're taught.
true. Well, and I remember, you sit, like I come from a place where breaking balls is breaking balls, but
Yeah.
back when we were in school,
We were hard as shit.
these kids now, they're just mean for the sake of trying to fill whatever void they have
Exactly,
that
make
they're
themselves
trying
feel
to, trying to be mean. So I would say to the parents and the kids who are watching this tonight, just remember the girl you called fat or the girl you called ugly or the kid you called whatever you called them, big nose guy,
Listen to Bob Marley, One Love.
just, killing me. I had a whole show about how Bob Marley sucks. But anyway, there's one thing we can take out of it. I think I need it. I would like for it to be that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we need cry closets and participation trophies, but I think we do need people to just understand each other.
Yeah.
Just kids, there's no reason to be mean. Like, what
What are you getting out of being mean to someone and hurting their
I
feelings?
think back to some of the things I did. Guilty as charged all day, every day. There was maybe the slow kid or the ugly kid or the chubby kid. I know I was a total dick, But somewhere along the line, I grew empathy. And probably after my father died, after age 16, I became a really sort of empathetic guy. Could have been a Miller Lite and just made me into a lover for everybody because, that's what it does. Your son's 25, your daughter was 22. You're living, the four of you living this life. Was she working? Was she what
Yes.
did she like to do? What was she into?
So she went to Emmett O'Brien for electrical.
No shit.
Yep.
Kids, if you can learn anything else from this, go to tech school.
Absolutely.
Learn to use your hands.
You're not kidding.
Mr. C. Rocks. That was her favorite teacher.
In about
Electrician.
20 years, when you guys are Googling how to change a light bulb, you're in trouble. But go ahead.
But Mr. C, that was her electrical teacher. She looked up to him so much. She loved electrical.
She liked fishing. Loved her fishing.
Yeah, she loved fishing.
She was good at fishing, too.
Yep. So she was an electrician, but she was doing some electrical work for her father and her friend on the side. She couldn't find an apprenticeship program. She tried for to work for
With the union.
the union. She took the test and failed, so she had to do it again. So I got her the practice test. But in the meantime, she was working at, when she passed, was Houstonic House. There's a new restaurant on 34.
I just heard
Giving them a
about it.
shout out. Don't forget Mike. But yeah, they were really good to us.
I heard nothing but good things about it.
Even when she passed, they offered to do the whole entire reception afterwards.
I usually have a sponsor for every show. Tonight is just suicide prevention and the 988. But if they would like to get a hold of me, let's dive right into. Let's dive right in. Let's just get to the nuts and the bolts. Bring me to I want to say the 24 hours before, but maybe the week before, the time leading up to. I had heard, and of course, this is just me hearing, that there was some tough times going around town, and some other young adults may have been forced into some of the same situations, I should say, or some of the same feelings as Nakita was. And how is Nakita dealing with that? And bring me into, it's a terrible way to say it, but
No, I know.
bring me into the final days of where were we going? And the reason we want to do this, and I want the people to hear that your wonderful, beautiful, smart, intelligent, kind, laughing daughter, who was still all of those things up until the moment she wasn't,
Yes.
was hiding something and hiding
Hiding
these
her pain.
things. And we weren't able to identify them because they hide them so well. But bring us into
So
that, and I'm going to shut
the
up.
best I can say is for the last year, her and her brother had endured so much pain. They lost over the last year and a half about 7 friends total. Multiple were suicide.
Close friends.
Close friends, like brothers, sisters, like
were
family. They stayed at our house all the time. They were so close, thick as thieves. So they dealt with 7 deaths in the last year. I'm all about mental health, and both of my kids know that there's nothing more that I said, you guys need help. You can't do this on your own. from her godfather to my grandmother to my father to 7 friends, actually. It was too much within a year. So the Friday before she passed away, her boyfriend died that she had been seeing for 6 months. And then 24 hours before, I had been checking on her, so did her father. And I actually said 24 hours before, when she walked in the house at the front door, this is the first person that had passed away. And I said, Nakita, something's wrong. This is the first person that you know that you've died, you haven't cried, are you okay? And she ignored me and walked straight into her room and closed the door. So I knew right away. I followed her down. And I said, Nakita, this is the first person that has passed away. You haven't cried. Are you okay? She shook her head, came up to me, put her head on my shoulder, with her arms by her side, and just fell on me. And she said, Mom, she's like, I feel like everyone I care about dies. She's like, it's not fair. I'm like, Kita, that's not true. Don't say that. And then Bob came downstairs. Me and her were crying. I was hugging her, holding her off the ground. Bob came over and hugged the 3 of us. This is 24 hours before. And she kept saying, it's not fair. Everyone I love dies. I don't want to love ever again because everyone I love dies. And we tried talking to her. And I feel as though, because 3 days before that, I slept in her bed because she asked Mommy, can you come downstairs and watch a movie with me? We slept in bed together. Because I kind of knew she was upset, but I didn't pry as much as I should have. So the 24 hours before, like I said, we had a family hug, went upstairs. The next day, she made chicken parmesan for her boyfriend's parents and homemade sauce delivered to him. Went to work, came home, and then we found her later that day. So there's certain signs that parents need to watch for when their kids are upset and triggers.
When her grief is that much and her pain is that much, and you know, these young kids, Bob and I touched on it. We were more thick-skinned back in the day. You know, we played, football without equipment out in the field. We didn't just play video games. We were outside. We jumped off of bridges. We jumped off of rocks. So these kids aren't, I don't think, as resilient or as tough as they used to be. And they are taught so much now to be in their feelings, which is fine. I mean, bottling things up is the old school way, and that's why gentlemen used to drink whiskey and then die of a heart attack at the age of 62 all the time, because they'd puff Marb Reds and Miller Lights and bottle up all their stress and anger.
Were we told in high school that we have anxiety? The kids these days use that word like 12, 13. I have anxiety.
Yeah.
Who's teaching you have anxiety? Because you shouldn't even know you have anxiety at 12 and 13.
Well,
we drank from the hose.
I think it's one of those things where you
did stupid shit.
You don't know about something until somebody teaches you.
Yeah.
Well, social media, I think, has got a lot to do with it too, Johnny.
Yeah. Well,
I hate to say it. Well, I don't know if I mean,
I sit here every week on the social media platform and try to grow this thing that I'm doing, and I badmouth social media to say it's the worst thing to ever happen. It's the worst thing to ever happen to marriage.
As we're on social media.
Yeah, right.
but that's a good thing.
It's the worst thing to happen to marriage. It's the worst thing to happen to children. It's a playground in which, you need to have a license to drive a car, but then again, any idiot can have a baby, and any idiot can get on social media, and it's like, a kid could be 18 years old, he could join the military, but he's got to wait 3 years to drink a beer. Yep. We're all fucked up. We're all backwards. we're all crazy. But your daughter, she feels this weight, she feels this grief, and clearly she's sad. And how is there anything that looking back you could say, holy moly, that was like a big red flag?
Well, there was red flags before that.
Yeah.
I did have her see therapists. I think it was when she was 12. One of my good friends, Chrissy, passed away. And that was like Kita's other mom. Not mom, but she was really close.
Yeah.
She used to call her at 10 o'clock at night. Chrissy, my mom yelled at me again. And she'd pull up to my house and be like, beep, beep. Your daughter called and said you yelled at her again. I'm like, take her. So when she passed away, that's when it started, and she started breaking down. So I had her see counseling because she was really close with her two nieces. She started breaking down, so I called a counselor, and then she sat there with her arms crossed. I'm not talking to anyone. It doesn't bother me. At 10. So you got to make your kids see a therapist. If they have a tragedy, it's the most important thing. I don't care if it's a death in your family. You need to have your child seek counseling at a young age. Because when she said, I don't want to talk, I was like, you know what, don't bother coming back. No. Come back every other day. And even if you have to stare at her until she breaks.
Can I just interject there?
Of course.
I agree. That is very important. The night before, I told my daughter, when we had the group hug, I said, Kita, me and Mommy love you dearly. But if we cannot get through to you and you need to see an outsider and talk to someone professionally or just to get a different outview on it, please do it.
It's the great advice. It's great. And again,
Hey, we're parents.
the old thing is you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink type of thing. But I think parents nowadays, in a large part, where some of these parents are becoming friends with their kids and forgetting that they're the parents sometimes.
Exactly. Because she said she wasn't going to talk to the
Maybe you grab her
counselor,
by
so
the
I gave
ponytail,
in.
you put her in the car, and you take her to a fucking therapist. And people be like, John, you can't do that.
If I look back,
Well,
I would
maybe
have
you
changed her
should.
to a chair. I
Maybe
would
you
have
should.
chained her to a chair and made her
100%.
talk.
Maybe
Break her
maybe
like
you
a
should.
horse.
Tell me to shut up.
No.
But I have a question. I never met your daughter, but there's something about everybody who calls her Kita. I'm going to do
Yeah.
that. Right? Had Kita ever threatened
Yes.
this
Yes.
before?
2 times that I know about, but in her journal she attempted 5.
Jesus Christmas.
No, I just said that there's 2 I knew about.
Yeah. So, I think so. Parents, here you are, and someone will say, and I read a lot. It's they're kids. They say that shit all the time. Well, now you see, you have a kid who said it, who said it, and then did it.
If they say it once, be concerned. Even if they joke, if they joke around and say, "Oh, I just want to kill myself,"
I think the part about
be
going
concerned.
when I was 16, my twin brother was 16, ironically. Our older brother was 17 or 18 at the time. Bad with the math because we were Irish triplets. She spit Miguel out and then boom, Robert and I were right there. They wasted no time. Told you we were going to laugh.
I know. I'm happy that about that.
Because if we don't, I'm going to fucking cry.
No,
He's
so
going to
am
make
I.
fun of me. Our father was killed, murdered, and we didn't go about it the right way as far as that traumatic experience. And I think, honestly, to this day, but especially it set us back emotionally a decade. Like, my brothers and I didn't
So
express.
you're telling me it's still going to be a decade?
Well, no, not if you deal with it. We decided we went to our therapist was Jack Daniels and Jimmy Beam. And we drank until we couldn't feel feelings. There you go. They're gone. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, fuck, how'd they get back here? And it sucks, but it's true. And I think it set us back decades because my brothers and I didn't share an emotional, real adult thought until probably our fucking
You
late
weren't
30s
into your
and
feelings,
40s.
Johnny?
No. I got into fluffernutters, got on the internet, and got fat. That's what I got into. But so now it's happened, and we're let's take ourselves hours away. Right? We're not to the journals yet. We're not to the this, the that's. We're just in fucking shock. We're in disbelief. Everybody grieves differently. We go through, I forget the stages. There's anger.
There's 5 stages of grief.
There's all of that stuff. Number one, your son, who I've never had the chance to meet as well. You've just lost your daughter. You still wake up and you have to be a parent to your son. There's no stopping that. What gives you the balls, the nerve to be able to get up, grieve the loss of your daughter,
For my son.
and help your son grieve the loss of his sister, who's quite possibly the closest person he's ever been close to?
Because he's my only living child, and I'll fight to the death.
We were thick as thieves, those four.
I will fight to the day I die to make sure my son doesn't do the same thing because he's grieving his daughter and the same friends that she grieved.
It's his sister. You said his daughter. He
Yes.
doesn't have a daughter.
Oh,
right?
no, sorry. I meant.
I didn't know. I was going to say I didn't know you were a grandma.
Oh, my God. Am I? Congratulations.
We have a
Shades
surprise at the end of
Courtney.
the show. No. You're forced into this situation where you not only have to grieve for yourselves, but now you got to look out for him. I know you're a close-knit family, your sisters. I don't know much about Bob's side of the family, only because I don't know Bob as well. Not that I barely know, but now you've got this core family and close friends. I know me. There's not a bottle of whiskey deep enough, and there's not a room dark enough for me to fucking hide in. How do
you move on?
You're never going to move
Oh,
on.
no, I know. This is kind of.
But how do you grieve and what's our initial, and if I'm prying, but take me to the 24 to 48 hours afterwards, before a service, before anything, just the initial, what the fuck?
What the fuck? In shock, numb. Numb is all I'm gonna say.
And very concerned for our son.
Yeah, we were concerned for Chase.
We love you, Chase.
I had to call him right after the police got there because I said I got to call him and tell him what happened to his sister. And he says, I'm on his way. I'm on my way, Mom. And he was there in like 3 minutes from Beacon Falls where he lives.
And I wrote here, your son, you still have to go on for him. Your husband, because I wasn't sure that he's going to be here tonight. It changes everything about your dynamic, right?
Yes.
Because now you're...
We wrote a perfect quote in he found it. Our family chain is broken. It is. It always will be until we all meet again. Our family dynamic is broken. That none of us are okay. We're not going to be okay. We might get okay in some time, but you're not okay.
We're 48 hours afterwards. 72, whatever. Do people... Now, with the rash of 7 lost lives, 6 prior to this already, young people who have it in their mind that this is the answer.
They need to see this show and realize what a lot of kids think there's no other choice, but they need to know. Yes, you lost 7 friends and see how you feel, so you should see how you're feeling. And if you leave your family, what do you think they're going to feel? It doesn't make it better. Look for help. Seek other ways. It can't be that bad. Get help.
Death always affects the living. It never affects the dead.
Exactly.
It's the...
And they feel those feelings, and that's why they did what they did, so they should realize what they're going to do is going to affect them just as much, knowing how close they were.
Are the schools, because I haven't had a child, I mean, my stepson's in school right now, and, I know how a few things operate over there, and I have teachers that are in that school, but where Keita was and where Chase was and where the friends, I mean, we're talking about 7 young adults who have decided.
Not 7 suicides.
Well, 4.
Yeah.
But the other way is just another way of seeking to get rid of the pain as well.
Pretty much.
So, because I'm jumping out of a limb here. We grew up in the valley.
I know. Okay, I get where you're going with that.
You're
Yeah.
right on point.
So, is there? Where does your daughter Keita's 22 years old when she takes her own life? Where does a 22-year-old, other than mom and dad or best friend, because are they teaching 22-year-olds how to find a professional? Listen, they
No.
Google any goddamn thing.
They don't even have to be able to tell time on a regular clock. They read it digital. They don't have to do cursive handwriting anymore. I don't know how they're supposed to sign a check, let alone teach your kids how to anti-bully. Don't bully kids. They don't tell kids how to be better in life, and it should be a class.
We're jumping through a program, right? They're jumping through the back of the book, the teacher's key. It's not the teacher's fault. What I'm saying is Is there anything in school? Is there a mental health class? Is there a
No, probably not. I mean,
there
it's been a
signs
while
up-
since- I'm getting old. It's been a while since they've
you
been
know,
in
because the
school.
people I know who are teachers now are probably some of the most empathetic, kind people you ever meet in your entire life, and would stay up for 17, 17 days with no sleep just to help a kid with a math problem, never mind with mental health issues. So we know we have the good people in place. I'm just wondering if schools are, is it one of those things where they want to, especially in the high schools, let's shy away from this. It's funny how they say, don't talk about it, or they'll think about it. But then all the other stuff they talk about, now they're thinking about it. So what are we talking about that we won't think about? And what are we thinking about that we won't talk about?
They do it a little too late because you know how schools do. Oh, we had this loss. If anyone needs to see the guidance counselor.
I wonder, it's like when we were in high school, every time a kid died in a car accident,
Yeah.
it was now seatbelt safety week.
Exactly.
Why the fuck don't we have seatbelt safety week the weeks leading up to?
Exactly. Why don't we have suicide prevention in high school?
It always
that's
seems,
what's happening.
yeah, it always seems like, and even in life, because I'm the same way, right? Like the water heater's leaking, but I'm not going to fix it till it breaks. It's human nature to cross that bridge when we get there. I wonder how we start building the bridge so that we could all walk. It's fucking
Because
cheesy,
people
John.
need to talk
but
about
how we can
suicide
build the
prevention
bridge?
more.
It's
And not just stick a poster up that says hashtag suicide prevention.
It's such
If you
an-
feel like doing it,
It's
call
such
this
an
number.
uneasy topic. It's what the hell did I say? I'm just making sure I cover everything. What I wanted to do here tonight, and I'm hoping we get to there. A few of these comments. Brianna Lynn Ryan says that you're amazing. I'll be the judge of that by the end of the show.
Oh, that's my daughter's friend Bubbles.
Bubble, like from Trailer Park Boys. So proud of you, says Jackie. Cynthia Allen
Those are a lot of
says
my
we always
friends.
had that, John. I remember. Bullies are terrible. We are dealing with that too. And my kid feels worthless at times because of the bullying. The schools don't help.
Her daughter's at Emmett now too, by the way.
At the end, I'm going to give I wrote a little thing. I got a little advice that I'm going to give some young kids and some young adults. And again, I'm going to come off a little abrasive or whatever. Life went from fucking picnics
Yeah.
and parties and cold beer and warm summer days to 2 weeks before Christmas, we lost our daughter. I am here to, most important thing I can get to cross to the two of you and Chase, if you listen to this later or now, it is, look me in the face, it is not your fault, right?
No.
I
can
know.
say with 100% guarantee.
I
it
know
is
that that's
not
something
my
people
fault.
think.
Nope.
It's important for me and all of the people who love you guys for you to know that this is a one person. The one person makes this decision, and one person
Yes.
only.
I've
right?
been through a couple of the steps of grief. One is guilt, and that's why I am a nosy mother. So before she passed away, I snooped through everything my kids own. I was always a nosy mother. I used to break in my kids' phone, and they're like, "Mom, how'd you figure it out?" Even the police officer was, I'll bring this up. They were going to take Kita's phone the night she died for an investigation. I said, "No, you're not." They're like, "Well, we need to look in there." I was like, "Well, give me her phone. I'll show you." They're like, "You know the passcode for your 22-year-old daughter?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I think it's this, 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 this." He goes, "No." I was like, "Add one more number." And he's like, "How do you know your 22-year-old's passcode?" He's like, "She's an investigative mom." I said, "Look in the light at your child's phone. They're too lazy to pick their finger up and press the numbers. You can see a grease mark."
Somebody's
cop
been
was like-
watching fucking Law and Order.
The police officer was like, "You're a pretty good mom there." Yeah.
But Johnny, to comment on that, statement.
Yes,
you're
of
right.
course.
I mean, as parents, yeah, there is some. I felt some guilt. I mean, as a father, I mean, to have my daughter do that, it broke my heart. It shattered it. You know, the night I said, Kita, she was her godfather, my best friend, right? You know, my bass player in the band, Mikey. I don't know if I can say names.
Say whatever you want.
Mike DeFusco, okay, I love you, brother. You know, that was her godfather. She said that night, her good
sit
friend
down for a minute,
Johnny.
we'll swap?
No, her good friend Johnny, Little John, passed away. Right, Diana. Right before her boyfriend, and she was devastated.
out here, take her right, and then take another right.
You know, she could not get over it. And I told her 2 nights before, I says, Kita, honey, it's a part of life. I don't, and this is when I ended with telling her, if me and mommy love you. We're her parents. We can give you all the advice in the world. Kids don't come with a handbook.
No.
You know? I mean, every kid's different. Everything, you know. And that's when I told her. I mean, I'm not a big fan on therapists. I feel if me and you got a problem, we work it out. 'Cause
Right.
I'm old school. But let me tell you something.
It's
a different world today, Johnny. You
it's
know.
something about, I don't want to say it's the strength of the children. Because we can equip our kids with whatever the fuck we want, right?
Absolutely.
You can take your son in the basement, teach him how to box, teach him how to do this. But when the time comes and somebody raises their hands, he's got to have the nerve or the will to want to raise his and to hit somebody. Because it's one thing to punch a bag, and it's one thing, and I know I'm using as a metaphor, whatever the fuck. It's one thing to punch a bag. It's another thing to haul off and punch somebody in the face. Not everybody's like me. When the first time they do it, I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. I was a skinny little prick. I couldn't stop getting in fights. But kids nowadays, they just, you got to have we can give them all the tools in the world.
Absolutely.
And they can have the best toolbox. And they can know exactly what tool to use. But if they're too afraid to pick it up and use it, there's nothing we can do, which is why I go back to 1980s and late 70s parenting. Oh, you're not going to? I'm going to pick you up by your short and curlies, and we're going to go fucking do it. And people will say you can't do that. But if your daughter loses 6 friends, whether it's to suicide or it's to something else, she's hurt. She's grieving. She probably doesn't tell you guys the things that she tells her friends, because what kid does at that age?
As parents, Johnny, we knew it. We were so afraid of our son and our daughter dying. You could attest to this.
Bob, we all worry.
When they lost all the friends.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, each friend was like, oh, my God. And these friends were like our kids because they were always over at our house.
Well, the point, I guess, that this makes is you worry about your kids, make them get counseling for any loss. Even if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions. Don't make it an option.
I
make them.
I can attest to that. I'm telling you.
Not or. You need to make them see counseling. There's no or.
We'll definitely pay more attention.
No, it's not pay more attention. It's they need to seek counseling to get professional help.
How important, in your opinion, I know I have my answer, but of course this is for you guys. I made a comment earlier about parents, thinking they're friends with their kids rather than parents. And some people do that very equally, and they're very good at it.
I did.
My wife, her and her son are the best of friends, but she's also the hammer. And bro, let me tell you something. When she's being mom, that dude's like, yes, ma'am. He knows, right? And then let me tell you something. I get scared. I go in a room and I hide.
I'm going to tell you
how
something.
How important is it to get to know who your kids are hanging out with?
It
and
is
not
very
just to be
important.
like, oh, hi, Jimmy. What does your mom do? Oh, she's a nurse. Great. Like, how is it to know Jimmy's favorite band or what he drives or what he's into or what's going on?
It is important for you to be your child's best friend. And I'll finish this in a second. I'll
Yes.
tell you something. My daughter posted on Facebook last year. She's like, how many people on here, and I'm not embarrassed to say, are best friends with their parents? I am. I'm not ashamed to say I am best friends with my mom and dad. We were her best friends. We did everything together from when they were little to now. You have to be your child's best friend. You have to be your child's support system, best friend, advocate, everything. Everything. So you have to be their best friends. And sometimes kids say stupid crap. So, yes, you got to get mad at them. You don't want to be their best friend. But be their best friend for them always. Give them discipline when they need it.
Correct. I was going to say, it's a slippery slope, and I can attest from
Yeah.
my wife. She would bring the hammer down.
I'm the hammer. We're
When,
getting it.
no, absolutely, yeah.
Bad cop, good
Because
cop.
I know we probably drank at a field somewhere along the way, but just meeting Bob really for the first time tonight, it is quite clear you are the hammer, and he's a pushover, right? He's a pushover, right?
You know what, Johnny?
Right?
And maybe that was
Hi,
wrong.
you seem like a sweet dude.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm too sweet, and I'm going to tell you this.
He's a good actor like Kita.
Bob's like, God.
Well, you know the good cop, bad cop thing.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be a dad, but I feel too pressure. These kids are under a lot of pressure today as it is. More than we are. And again, I think we have thicker skin. Like, I don't know.
Mine's
what
like,
years on?
Mine's tough cowhide.
You know. Well, yeah, no, even you. Yeah, you weren't. No, I'm gonna get
Listen,
here. But
we
anyways.
we weren't
only
taught
17.
we weren't taught about anxiety. We
No.
weren't taught about the things, the I don't know how to say it, but we were left to be children.
Because we
Go learn math, go learn spelling, go learn ground balls.
because we weren't
Go
bullied
out
either.
and play in the fucking
Don't-
woods.
I was just gonna say, Johnny, you hit it right on the head.
But
What do
even
they
if
do?
we made fun of each other, and if you didn't like someone said, you punch them in the face, got over it, and talked the next day.
Some of my best friends to this day are dudes I fought with.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I won't say his name.
We didn't get a group of people to gang up on someone and be like, you know what? She's fat.
I
She's
got in a
ugly.
nasty fist fight with a dude over a girl, like the dumbest fight in the world to this day. When we see each other, we kiss on the cheek and say, I love you. You know what I mean? Like we're the best of friends over it. And wherever she is, you're a pig. No, I'm just kidding.
I've gotten into my share of fights because I was bullied by boys and girls. There's a couple boys that are probably on here that remember my fist to their face.
Well,
She's a tough one.
when after the first night we talked, and you sent me that message and you said, hey, I know you do your thing. Is there any chance you'd be willing to help me bring awareness to suicide? And I said, like, first of all, who the fuck's going to say no to you, right? Because
A lot of people
a
have.
mother just lost her daughter. I'm going to be like, nah, that's really not my thing. But it is, because I'm a mental health. I'd like to think I'm a mental health advocate. But one of the things I was talking to Miguel, and I'm like, dude, I know I should know her. I know Darcy because I know she was in like John Duke's class and those guys. I said, I feel like I should know Diana. He's like, yeah, she was the one who got in trouble all the time. First thing out of your mouth was, I go, Diana, I feel like I should know you. You're like, yeah, I'm the one who got in trouble all the time. I'm like, all right.
Well, remember what I was voted for in my yearbook? Most likely to appear on America's Most Wanted. That's where Kita got her toughness from.
Well, the night's young and we still got whiskey.
Nikita was just like me, though.
Let's.
She was a little rough
And we
tough
thank you, Johnny, for
Yeah.
having us on, or my wife, for joining
Oh,
us. This is, thank you.
It's
Appreciate it.
She was a little rough and tough.
as far as having a show, it was a no-brainer. Selfishly,
Thank you.
I posted about a video sitting in my living room saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to do something a little bit." Over 1,500 views in like 3 days. People from all over. All of these names. I don't know who Maddie is.
Maddie is my friend's
I don't know who
daughter.
Michelle. I do know Michelle. I don't know.
Those
who
are all my
everybody-
friends up there. I can see their names.
And
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
there's going to be a lot for you guys to go back and read later because we didn't get to see it all. And to everybody who's commenting, they're coming in fast and furious. I can't comment on them all because we're telling a story.
I'm trying not to look up so I don't.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
staring at the table.
It's probably better. The prevention part of it. Let's talk about the prevention part of it. If you were given the keys to the castle tomorrow, the two of you, mom and dad, Nakita's mom and dad, you just suffered this. It's fresh. What can you do? What step? I don't know if you know what step one is, but what's the first thing you're going to look a group of moms and dads in the eyes and tell them? What's the first piece of advice now that we have lost her? What's the first thing you say?
When your child tells you something, listen. Take it to heart. Don't get mad, even if you don't like what they say. And if they ever, as a friend, a parent, anyone, even joke around and say, I'm going to end my life, or I just can't deal with this shit anymore, I'm going to end it, call their parents, tell somebody. They need to seek help. Because it's those people that say that and that live so happy, joke around, and live to make other people happy, that they mean it. And you know what I said? I said, oh yeah, she says it all the time. And this is the mistake I made. She did say it a lot, but she'd laugh. She's like, oh, I'm just going to end it. With her cackle. Little actress.
Definitely take it to heart.
Take it to heart.
Yeah.
Make them get help. Because she wrote that. She's like, this time I'm not going to tell my mom. And she told my sister. She saw my sister Tuesday before she did it. And her text even said it to my sister. Because I went through her whole entire phone because I'm nosy. She told my sister, Auntie Darcy, are you home? I want to talk to you. She was like, I don't want tough love right now. She's like, I just want to vent. She's like, I don't want to. She's like, is mom home? She's like, I don't want to talk to mom. She always gives me tough love. I'm glad I gave her tough love. And so that kind of hurts because I didn't give her enough tough love or got her help, but I know it's not my fault. But yeah, it's just take it serious. And all friends of kids need to take it serious. One time, if they say that they're going to end their life or even joke and laugh about it, don't take it as a joke. Because that's a warning sign. Because that means they've thought of it. It's not just coming out of their mouth. That's a warning.
I was going to say that it's sometimes
It's a trigger.
I mean, it's a slippery slope too.
we say things. Sometimes people don't just say things to say things. Sometimes
They're
they
asking for help, but they're not asking for help.
right. They want to see if it sticks against the wall. And if it sticks,
Correct.
it sticks.
Yep.
Again, she loses her boyfriend on Friday.
Yeah.
She's gone Thursday,
The following.
the following week. So we're talking 5, 6. Nice math, John. That's that Seymour High School math. 6 days.
It was Emor Iul. We're missing out letters, remember?
Anything you picked up on from that Saturday morning to that Thursday morning? That.
After the fact. Seriously, it was after the fact.
Yeah.
Because if I would have gotten phone calls from like people at my old work and my sister telling me, but you don't put the pieces together until afterwards. Because now that we all have been through it, my family and friends, in a way, Nakita made rounds and was saying goodbye to everybody. She went to my old work and was talking to my old friends, which I hadn't worked in 4 years. But thank you guys, you were all there for me and sent beautiful flowers. It's like she was doing her rounds and saying goodbye. They didn't think that was weird, so I want everyone to hear, like, the message, because they should have been, hey, Diana, you know what? Nakita stopped by. We thought that was weird. Nakita was here. It's like the last week leading up to it, she literally did rounds and was saying goodbye to everybody.
That's the stuff I want to share. Not to hijack, but I don't know if you guys knew him or if you remember him, but Seth Kazuski, back 2 months after my father died, he was a very good friend of mine, and we had a party at my house because after my father died, my mom didn't want to live there, but me and my brothers turned it into a fucking keg party house because that's what teenage boys do. He took his own life on a Saturday morning. Friday night we had a party. He came by. He gave me the coat of his I liked. He gave me his Onyx CD, the song Slam, right? He went to another friend of ours and gave him something that he liked. He went to, and he did like, and we're all drunk drinking Miller Genuine Draft back in the day in our VO and Canadian Club because that's the cheapest shit we can get our hands on. Not until the Monday, Tuesday afterwards did I say this motherfucker was saying goodbye, and none of we were 16 years old and drunk. But in the research that I've done on this, it is the most common thing a suicidal person does. A for real suicidal person.
She's like
not
trying to clear her thoughts before she does it.
Right. And almost the reason they do it for 2 reasons. One, they want to make sure that they leave something behind, and 2, maybe somebody will pick up on what's really happening.
I think it's a cry for help.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. She still would have found another way to do it.
No.
I don't want it. It's just I wish I knew. And there's no. I just want parents to be more nosy.
Yeah, it's
Be as nosy as you can.
there's only one when it comes to suicide. There's only one person. That's
Yep.
it. That's all.
It's all about them.
It's on them.
Yeah.
It's their fault. They're the ones to blame. And I'm not trying to be harsh when I say that, but what I'm trying to get at is, for anyone who's listening, an aunt, uncle, brother, sister, cousins, neighbor, milkman, whoever you are, you have no skin in that game. It's not yours to own. It's not yours to have to burden. Of course you're going to feel that way. Of course you're going to. And remember at the beginning of the show when I said I'm not a professional, so anybody fucking, sue me or some shit. But
and I am a nosy mom. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. If she didn't come home when she said she was going to be home, there's other way to track your kids like Snapchat and Instagram because there's a locator on them. So a lot of times I did check up on her. I am a nosy mom. So more parents need to dig more and be friends with their kids, but be the good cop, bad cop parent yourself. Not one bad cop, not one good cop, bad cop, good cop. You got to be all of that in one. Your kid should be able to come to you and vent anytime.
1,000%.
No holds barred. Tell you the truth 100%, and Kita did, except about that.
because, and I would assume, and I can't speak for her, but I'm going to assume, how the fuck, right, is she going to tell either one of you?
Yeah.
That's the thing that's going to hurt you most.
Absolutely.
Listen, tell me you got a drug problem. Tell me you're pregnant. Tell me this. Tell me the normal kid things, and we'll go and we'll get it and we'll get through. But that's
a big one.
That's the one. That's the thing.
I'm going to
how's
try
she
to
gonna
say
look you
this
in the
without
face?
crying. She said goodbye to me. She did. She had in her back pocket a letter that I wrote her and a gift card I bought her for a tattoo for last year for Christmas. The officer's like, Mom, I think you need to see this.
Again, bring it back to we're not built for
I
this,
know.
right? Don't feel bad about that at all. Life changes. It's changed forever.
Forever.
I know you guys you had to move out of the house.
We're
Which
going to.
you're going to move out of the house.
I can't.
I don't blame you.
Thank you, Danielle and Darcy, for helping me.
It's at this. It's from what I've heard and what I've seen. Your families have been amazing.
Yeah.
Mark,
They-
brother,
Friends.
Daniel Darcy.
You guys got a good group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a good group
And all
of
my
people.
friends. My friends are there 24/7.
Yeah, we love you all. Trust me. Very good
It's
support group.
before we wrap it up, because I feel like I'm going to give you a chance again, but before I wrap it all up, I thought of a couple of things on the way here. August is Suicide Prevention Month. No, September. I apologize. September is Suicide Prevention Month. For as long as there's a Live with Johnny, I will air this show twice that month. The first day of the month and the last day of the month, or something like that. I will air this episode every September for the rest of my life, or as long as this is here.
Can you Photoshop my 3 chins, please?
Yours between the well, listen, make it 7. Check them out. My wife's probably watching this right now, like, oh my God, he's a beautiful person, but eat a salad.
I thought that's what you got DoorDash.
Rat. You lose your daughter 2 weeks before Christmas, 10 days. That's bad enough. We got a birthday coming up, right? Her 23rd birthday.
Yes.
I'm going to air this again on her 23rd birthday.
I'll be at French Park with an ice cream cake and letting off lanterns in memory.
What day of the week is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Today
either.
or her birthday?
Her birthday.
I have bad enough keeping track these days
I
of
know,
what day
right?
it is.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a group of people there, I'm going to try to be there. But if you're doing a personal mom
Thursday.
family thing, you do you.
No, I do want to do,
Weekend, right?
and I'm gonna do her, Facebook offers to do like
Yeah.
like a fundraiser. So I'm gonna do it in suicide prevention awareness because
That's-
a lot of money got donated.
That's what I want to say. All you wonderful people who are commenting and caring and know the Huenerbergs, and we're friends with Nakita, or just I know my buddy Joe was a teacher of hers at one point, and I saw he was commenting. If you've got the $5 to
Mr. C?
$10, yeah. If
Yeah.
you got the $5 to $10 to $15, go over to suicide prevention. I know there's a little note there, just in memory of Kita or whatever you called her. Do that because, to be quite honest with you, not to get political, but mental health in this country is not taken seriously. We take way too many other things seriously in this country, and mental health and addiction and overdoses are kicked to the fucking curb, and they're pretended to be cared about, but they are the redheaded stepchild, and nobody wants to talk about the hard stuff.
Nope.
And that's a crime in and of itself. We don't want to talk about suicide or drugs because we don't want the kids to hear about suicide or drugs.
They don't want them to do drugs and then commit suicide.
If they don't,
They need to.
This is the one thing, right? How about we stop teaching them about the sex stuff in the 2nd grade and start teaching them about the real life stuff? We got kids who don't know where it is a proper place to go for mental health, and they don't know how to balance a checkbook, but it's all the other stuff. I think it's time we don't let your kids be kids. Treat them like adults when the time gets there, but let them know that there's always an open fucking door.
And look for red flags.
I'm going to give you a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, both of you, to say, number one, any message, inspiration, advice, anything. Pretend every mom and dad in the world is listening to you, looking at you right now. Whether it's a 1 sentence or 10, it's up to you. And then afterwards, I want you to take the opportunity to say thank you and I love you to whoever you need to. Because you guys have been through the worst possible thing. The thing with the thing with all the other ways a person can die is sometimes you're just not given a choice.
Yeah.
Here a choice was made. There's nothing you could do about it. And it's going to change the 3 of your lives forever and everybody else around you. I'm going to shut up. And you don't have to take the time. You could say, John, shut up and keep talking.
No, but
I want you to go ahead.
I'm like, I just want to say, everyone, thank you for being there for us all the time. You're all friends and family. All I want to say is be friends with your kids, but be a nosy parent too. And look for red flags, even jokes. Even if there's any kids on here, go to your parents if you need help. There's another way out. Even if you lost a friend to suicide, suicide's not the answer. You could get help. You could get better. I don't think there's anyone on the face of the planet than me and my sisters that have had a worse upbringing. I was an abused child, and I didn't end my life. No one will ever have a worse upbringing than I did. There's other choices to make. So parents need to be aware. Give your kids the resources. If they want you to say, hey, why don't you call this number? Don't make them go see counseling then, but just try to get them help. Even if they say it as a joke. As a friend of a friend, if someone says, oh, I just want to end it and laughs, take it seriously. Do something about it. That's all.
Yeah, take it very seriously. I mean, any parent out there knows that kids do not come with a manual. Every kid's different. And let's face it, you're my age, at 52, things have changed drastically. I have friends that are my age that have kids younger. A lot of it's got to do with bullying. I mean, hey, maybe we were thicker skinned, whatever the deal is. But really, I use my wife's advice. As a father, maybe it's a little harder, especially as a daughter, to pry because there's a little personal stuff there. So, I'll just leave it at that, okay? But that's what Mama Bear is there for. And I'm glad she did, But it's a very serious thing. I am just stuttered for words. I'm just broken for him because, and I can attest, and I'm sure we're not the only parents that feel this way, but we never, ever. I see pictures on the wall all the time. My little girl is gone forever. I just cannot. I'm living in like a pretend world. I mean. All right, but advice. Sorry, I got off track there. Sorry.
If you got anybody,
yeah.
I don't know everybody, but thank you to everybody who's been there for your family.
No.
I know that there was foods and meals and GoFundMe's and the outpouring of support seemed to be tremendous, and thank God because, it's
We're humble.
Community is what I always say, man.
Yep.
Reach out, talk about it, all that good stuff. I want to thank the both of you.
Thank you
for even having the balls and the courage to do this because I got to tell you, I don't know if I've got it in me to do what you're doing. But as I've learned, Diana's tougher than all of us.
That's right.
I don't know. Even if we help one person and make you a nosier parent, I don't know.
Well,
if
I
it
think
did
that's
anything.
the key here is
Listen to keywords.
Parent first,
Yeah.
friend second, but be
Yeah.
both. Balance it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was a single father. I had to do it all on my own, and I was the biggest dick as far as a father goes, but I was a cool ass friend. And I was cool with his friends, and I made it to where he can call me whenever. Okay, you're 17 years old, you drank a couple of Coors Lights, and you can't drive the car?
Yeah.
All you got to do is call me, tell me, coming to get you, not mad at you.
Oh, I've had to do that with the kids.
If you tell me the truth the first time, there's no penalty.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to fucking find out, your ass is mine.
Right.
I was the same exact way.
absolutely.
My wife,
Good advice.
with her son, that kid is as open and as honest as the day is long, because that's the way if every mother and son or daughter should have that relationship. And I'm proud of my wife. I tell her all the time, she doesn't just love her son, she loves him fiercely. And fiercely not meaning mean, fiercely meaning
Passionate.
She's so sorry, Mom, but my daughter, I did not marry my daughter. My wife, Amy, is probably the best mother I've ever had the pleasure of being part of my life. She's phenomenal. So if there's a lesson there, it's to pry. It's to get in there. Give me your phone. Let me see your phone. Listen, bullying happens on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid pictures happen on the phone. Stupid comments happen on the phone. They're not always going to tell you. They're too embarrassed to tell you. And all of a sudden the embarrassment bottles up and it bottles up and it bottles up, and I can't tell Mom and I can't tell Dad, and there we are.
What parent of a 23-year-old knows all their kids' passcodes for all their accounts?
Yeah.
This one does.
If we start early, if we start early and we make it the rule, or we make it the norm with them, they're not going to be afraid to hand us the phone when they're 24 years old.
And don't give them everything they want. Make them work for it.
Right.
Well, that's a whole other thing. So,
That's part
Yeah.
2.
that's Well, don't get me started. Again, thank you two so very much for giving me the last hour of your life to do this. I'm glad you reached.
Appreciate you for having us.
I'm glad you
Thank you,
reached
John.
out. I'm glad that you came. Diana, her first thing out of her mouth was, "As if we help one person." So here we go. I'm hoping we help one person, one family, and we'll go. Now, we usually do a thing called the soapbox, but Kirk, don't put that up because that'd be a little rude. But I'm gonna preach a little bit here, and I know what you're gonna say, John. You're not a professional. You're not this. You're not that. We have the best experience. He's 52. Diana's probably 46, 49.
She looks like
I'm going to be 46.
Why, thank you. I'm
Kirk's going to be
75.
73. We have what people call, it's life experience. I've been through a bad thing, right? My father, when I'm 16. I want all the young adults, the children, you 12-year-olds, you 13, 17, 22s. I want you to just listen to what I'm going to say to you for a second. And I want you to really, when I went through this today, I imagined I was talking to your daughter, Nakita, the day before. And I said to her, and I sat her down, and I said, I just want to tell you, before you do this, 15-year-old you isn't going to like what 25-year-old you likes. 25-year-old you isn't going to love the type of guy that 35-year-old you loves. Mm-hmm. And 45-year-old you is finally going to think they have it together. And 55-year-old you is going to laugh at you for thinking so.
100% true.
So what you're feeling today, you're not going to feel at 25, and you're not going to feel at 35. It's going to be different. At 22, a guy's looking for a blonde with big boobs. At 35, he's looking for a woman and a mother and a kind human being. And to the bullies, and to the people being bullied, fuck the bullies. To the people being bullied, you're called ugly, you're called stupid, you're called whatever. So what?
Know your worth.
I'm ugly. You see the dime I married? Okay? People are going to find beauty in you, not in your face, but in your heart and in your words and in your actions. And no one's going to love you at 22 for your kindness and your gentleness and your loving. At 22, it's not the end of the world. There's so much there. There's so many more warm summer days. There's so many more cold beers. There's so many more gentle kisses and so many more warm hugs. Get there. Give it a chance. Know that it's there.
Hang in there.
When the dark is dark, you're talking, I hate to bring it up, but these rock stars and like a Robin Williams who would make you laugh up until the minute he died, and these rock stars who would entertain you and leave the stage and go to the hotel and kill themselves, and they've had the world by the balls. There's more. There's more to that decision. There's more to life than just thinking it's not going to be there.
Can I say one thing
can
in
say
between
whatever.
that?
Done.
So a lot of parents need to look for key things in this too. I hate to interrupt talking about.
Don't.
So they
don't.
need to look for changes in their child's behavior and patterns, because that's the red flags in the signs. Sorry.
No, pay
Originalism.
you pay attention to those things.
Yeah.
And you listen. We put our kids out in the world, and we hope that they're going to do their best. Listen, Jeffrey Dahmer's parents were parents once too. You have to equip them as best you can, and you get them out there. But if you're being bullied, there's a time and a place for you to say something. You have what's the highway thing? See something, say something, whatever it is. The terrorist, I mean highways. I don't know where I get my shit half the time. But if you see something, you say something. It's not worth it. And just know that there's always somebody there to talk to. People, right? When the darkness gets there, there is more light. I went through dark times, and what did I find? There's more light. 25-year-old me wanted to drink beer until I couldn't feel feelings in whiskey. Then I became a father, and 35-year-old me was still like, I got this beautiful son. I'm a single father. But boy, oh boy, paying bills sucks. Doing this sucks. Having to be responsible sucks. And you just don't know. And now I'm 45, and life couldn't be greater. I've got a son in the Navy. I've got a stepson who could play any sport and do it great and make you laugh like you wouldn't believe. Both of our sons are just the funniest kids we've ever met. Beautiful wife. We have a great relationship. She's my best friend. 22-year-old me would have laughed at you when you told me what's going on today. I would have laughed. I would have been like, that's for punks, bro. And I would make the dumb decisions I made. So without rambling, just know that what you're feeling today can be worked through and get there. There used to be a poster in school, and we used to make fun of it as kids. Why, I don't know. But it used to say that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Mm-hmm. And I can't even stress how important and true that is. I'm going to take my glasses off for a second because I wrote this last thing I'm going to say before I get into my last spiel. First things first, I didn't write down. I want to say to Chase, who wasn't here tonight, we've never met. I owe you a Miller Lite if you drink. If you don't, coffee's cool.
Bad sons. He drinks those.
Bad sense.
I just want to say to you that it's not easy as a son, because I watched my mom when my passed. It's not easy to watch your parents be sad. It's not easy to watch your parents cry, especially your father, right? Because they're supposed to be. I remember the first time I saw my dad cry, I was like, what in the fuck? Like, what the fuck? It's not easy. I hate to tell you it's not supposed to be, but what I am going to tell you is these are two people who, no matter what you feel, if you want a hug, there's a hug. If you want a pizza, there's a pizza. And if you want to just sit in silence, they're there. Don't think that they're not.
We love you unconditionally, Chase.
You are loved. And I know weird, Chase, you're probably like, who's this dude? But
No,
I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledged you, because I was unable to do that tonight. So I'm going to end it. I'm going to say this last thing, and we're going to go. On December 15th, Nakita took her own life. At some point, she allowed herself to believe that that was the right and only choice. No matter how great of parents or family or friends or whatever, no matter how great of a job we all did, you know what I mean?
No.
She still chose that there was no hope. Diana and Bob and Chase want to take that choice of no hope and turn it into letting the rest of you know there is absolutely hope. There is so much hope that all you have to do is reach out for it. We did this tonight to remind all of you, especially the kids and the young adults, that there's always hope. There's always help. No matter what, no matter when, reach out. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is worth your life.
Even the adults.
Nothing. Right. I think that if we can achieve or accomplish anything tonight, especially the moms and the dads who watch this, You couldn't even imagine putting yourself in the shoes of these two people. You couldn't imagine sitting your ass in the seats that they have to sit in now. I hope that you saw this or will see this or will hear this as it goes up on all the platforms. And it forces you at some point in the next couple of days to just sit your kid down, whether they're 12 or 20, and just say, fucking talk to me. Let's talk about whatever you want. Whether it starts with the New York Mets or the New York Giants and ends with, I love you and you can always talk to me. Maybe they want to talk about the new Kid Rock album possibly coming out. Maybe they want to talk about whatever. Listen to them, because the second they realize you're listening to them about the non-important thing, they're going to realize we can talk about the very important thing. Bob, Diana, we're friends for life now. My heart breaks for you, but my heart is also happy for you, because I think that you're going to find that you're going to help somebody and you're going to do something good. And I know that sounds strange, but we have to find, Bob said it 1,000 times, but we have to find the light somewhere. So I think you guys are going to find your light, use it for the right reasons. To Nakita, who I've never met, who can clearly hear us if you believe the things that I believe. These people are not going to forget you anytime soon. Your family loves you so much. The outpouring for you has been amazing. I personally am sorry that you had to go through what you went through and make those choices that you made. But know that your loss won't go down as a loss. It's going to go down as a win somehow, somewhere, some way. And these two people and your brother are going to make sure of that. And me, if I can help, and whoever else.
God bless.
I think it's time to wrap it up. I think it's time to just say, listen, when you're done, text, call, ask. The three most important words in the English language are, how are you? Text, call, whatever it is, email, whatever you're doing these days, carrier pigeon. Ask somebody how they're doing.
Yeah, reach out.
Even the Robin Williamses of the world, the Nakita Huenerbergs of the world, the people who smile and laugh and joke and got it all. Somewhere along the line, they made it very clear that they weren't as happy as they are. Look out for these people. And more importantly, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, and your roommate. Always talk about it. Always feel always feel like you can reach out. There's always somebody who's going to answer the phone. If your first 7 phones don't answer, just know the 8th one will. And if you can't, the suicide prevention line is 988. 3 numbers, and you got somebody to talk to every single time. 988. # suicide prevention.
That's where all the rest of the money went that we raise money for. We donate a lot to it now.
I'm glad you said that. I meant to bring that up, and I thought that was very admirable. And there's where the light starts. The light starts there. To your entire families, my sincere condolences. Big hugs when I see you. Thank you, too, for being here tonight. Chase, God bless you. Bright Eyes, I'm coming home. I love all of you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
God bless.